Hello, film fans. Welcome to the Film vs. Film podcast. My name is Martin Harries, your host. I'm a filmmaker on occasion, but mainly can't stop yapping about movies. On this podcast, every episode I pick a topic from a film that's coming out at the cinema or on streaming. I pick a favourite film from that topic and battle it out against a guest to decide which film will become the greatest film of all time. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Please enjoy part 1. Hello, podsters or podderonies, if you prefer. We are back again for another episode this month as the Odyssey is out in the big screens and filling up the IMAX screens as well, as the Odyssey is now the first film in history to be shot in full IMAX film, which is very exciting and very frustrating at the same time if you can't get to one. But that's another matter, but it's still very cool. So naturally, we'll be talking Christopher Nolan films. We have done many Christopher Nolan films over the years, and we have done a Christopher Nolan episode in the past, which was Inception versus Dunkirk, I believe. And I think Inception won that one just. I am a big fan.
I would hope
Dunkirk. So. I love all of his films.
Yes.
I do have a bit of a soft spot for Dunkirk. And of course, I am joined by a guest, as always, Heather Stewart, part of the Revisionist Almanac family, currently on hiatus, I guess. Andrew's taken a well-earned break. Heather, how are you? Great to see you.
Yes, I am very happy to be here. Nolan, favorite director. Nolan summer starts now. This is my first of probably many podcasts talking about all things Nolan. Actually, no, I did have one earlier this year talking about Memento, but the actual full-on summer, Odyssey summer starts now.
Excellent.
Yes.
I hear you're a bit of a Christopher Nolan fan, a bit of an expert, as you were very upset that I didn't invite you when Andrew was originally on.
I mean, if him taking a little break is good for anything other than, of course, for him and for his family, it's that you now have me to do this. And I know what film he was going to do, so this is possibly preferable.
What was he going to go for?
I think he's going to do Tenet.
Oh, okay.
Just for fun.
I'm very glad you're on now then. Because that one hurts my brain. I like Tenet a lot, like visually, but
yeah, absolutely.
That's the one I'm like, do I want to go back to this? I always kind of think twice about it because it's like, I don't want to get stuck into it too much. It just makes my brain hurt. So.
Yeah, as they say,
maybe I'm being too
don't
cowardly.
Think, don't try to understand, just feel. Don't think,
just
feel. Yeah. No, I did go back to it. I saw it when it first came out in Corona summer, and it was like very unpleasant theatre experience, as you can imagine. Everybody masked up, no aircon, 35 degrees outside. Horrible experience, really old cinema as well, so it's just really sweaty. And then I did revisit it when it was re-released here, like I think about a year and a half ago, something like that, and much better experience. Aircon, comfortable seats, great experience. Didn't understand much more, but that doesn't matter.
Just you saying aircon is just quite a nice feeling, I guess, as it's insanely hot right now. But we'll move past that. We're gonna soldier on. So tell us about your Instagram. What do you do? Like, how did you get into films? All those kind of questions. If people don't know. Already.
If people don't know, yes. So I mean, I guess the real cinema, theatre, film, love possible. I mean, probably started early because my mom used to watch like really old films all the time. Like there was always something on. She's very knowledgeable about the golden age of cinema and all these like black and white classics. So there was that. Then my grandpa always used to watch like westerns and stuff. So I kind of grew up with often films being on in the background anyway. And then really, I think I started to go into cinema a lot really in earnest, probably around the age of like 13, 14, I guess, because there wasn't much else to do. I was living close to London at the time, but not close enough that, at 13, 14, they were saying, just go up to London, the big town, big city by yourselves. So you sat there going, well, what else is there to do in that age. So we would often just get dropped off on a Saturday or a Sunday at the shopping centre. There was a great big, multiplex cinema in there. And you just watch maybe a couple of films, depending what was on, did a bit of shopping, went to Safeways for Safeway muffins. It was just very excellent memory. Yeah. And then so I think everything around that time between sort of, I said 13 and 17, I probably saw so many films. Although, as we've established, not Disney films, because I'm missing things like The Lion King and Aladdin.
Big gaps.
But big gaps. But I mean, all the big ones that came out, like, early mid-90s.
So you guest on a lot of podcasts, don't you?
So I do. Well, yes, I keep myself busy. Obviously, we had a lot of content that's on the Revisionist Almanac channel, which everybody can go and listen to. And while we're on a break, yes, me and Amanda, who's also in the team there, we're open to guest spots. I've got quite a bit lined up. Lots of Nolan things. I've just recently done Spielberg draft. Got Nolan rankings coming up, and I'm on our friends from Movie the Needle, coming up with them soon for another Mash Flicks episode. So that'll be
nice. I need to get them on as well.
yes, you should. Always fun with them. Yeah, because we've podded with them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was good fun when we did the BAFTAs with them.
Yes. A lot of fun. So the Odyssey then is coming out. I would say probably a lot of people's most anticipated film of the year, besides maybe Dune Part 3. How do we feel about this? Are we insanely excited? It's got a great cast. It's Nolan going huge again.
So me and my brother, we tend to from the very beginning, whenever the first projects the next project is announced, we'll be sending each other anything that we find about it. So we've been following this whole Odyssey. Funny. For, no pun intended. Well, since it was pretty much announced, or before actually, when what were the rumors that it was going to be some weird remake of some strange helicopter heist film? I don't know. And then there was rumors it was going to be a some really cheapy B movie, and he was going to remake it. And then that was the rumor. Then there was a rumor it was going to be vampires and all these things. And then it was announced it was going to be the Odyssey. And then the cast started getting announced, and then it was just almost like whack-a-mole. It's like, okay, there's another one, there's another one. It was insane. You're like, no, they're actually taking the piss here, because it was like the who's who, it's like, oh yes, Matt Damon's leading. I'm like, well, that makes sense. Anne Hathaway, okay, she's done a few. Then, they're bringing back Pattinson. Sure. Yeah, fine. And then then suddenly Tom Holland's in it, and then Zendaya. And I'm like, no, this is where I'm not like this, this is where I don't quite believe it. Cause I'm like, yeah. They're just saying that because if I'm a little bit invested in Tom Holland and Zendaya. I think they're so wholesome. I love them.
Yeah.
But they do have this really very parasocial fan base who just cast them in anything. It's like, oh, there's a new film being announced. Oh, I think, so they should cast Tom as this and Zendaya as this. I'm like, mate, they don't have to be in every film together. So I thought it was one of these. I actually didn't believe it. And then it turns out, no, that was actually true. And then they announced Lupita Nyong'o, and then they just keep going. And you're like, when is this going to stop? And then at some point it stopped. But I do still think there's a surprise. There's always some kind of surprise cameo, isn't there? And then just the whole scope of it, there's this thing that people think cannot be adapted. Well, if anybody can do it, I'm just going to say it's Nolan.
I love the fact that Chris Nolan is always trying to push himself, and with what he can do with cameras, and what he can do with sound and everything. And he really challenged the IMAX team over at IMAX to redevelop again the camera, and they put it in this huge box, because obviously I expect a lot of listeners know that with a lot of his previous films, using an IMAX film camera, it's very noisy, so you always have to record
heavy.
You have to record dialogue in post, etc. So they designed this huge box so you could actually record dialogue at the same time. And also I heard that Christopher Nolan was very keen to try and film in places, in locations that's never been seen before, which I really find that fascinating, and I'm very excited for it. Yeah, as you say, the cast is amazing. You got Hoyte van Hoytema back as a cinematographer, Ludwig Göransson back as the composer.
Yes.
Even though, I do love Hans Zimmer as well, but Ludwig's amazing as well.
Ludwig is on a run. I mean, he is He's got Nolan, he's got Coogler. I mean, he's the man is...
Yeah, man of the moment with film scores. And then the trailers came out and people got a bit funny.
People just
things.
generally got funny because people are weird.
Yeah.
And they just got hung up on weird, like, first of all, they've all got American accents. Yeah, okay.
Have you not seen historical epics before? When
also,
most people are talking
why would
British,
they all have
anyway?
British accents? This is also the weird thing. And quite frankly, I think Brits generally do a better job of American accents than Americans of British ones, generally. And, like, it doesn't matter. They're all not Greek. Which was also a problem. Oh, they're not Greek. Well, okay, God. They're also not gods and mythical creatures. So, and then, then the whole discourse with Lupita Nyong'o, and I'm like,
it's ridiculous.
The description of Helen of Troy is like the most beautiful woman in the world. Hello, have we looked at this woman? I mean, she's gorgeous.
And also, she's one of my favorite actresses.
Oh, she's
as well.
so good.
Like, I know something like Us is, some people are very mixed on it, but I love it. But her performance is incredible in that film.
Oh, she's insane. I watched that for the first time recently, and I was
12 years
blown away. Yeah, well, that was her first role as well. Amazing. No, and her double role in Us. We may be talking about double roles later on today. She just the transformation between those two characters is incredible, and also, I mean, if everybody's taking blooming Diane Kruger as an example, I don't think Helen of Troy was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed German either. So, no, like, she was, born of an egg. She's a mythical, good grief. Anyway,
and also,
whatever.
as you say, it's kind of, there's a lot of fantasy elements in this, so it's not...
Exactly.
You can have fun with sort of the so-called historical elements here, And if he is going to go completely historical accurate with accurate Bronze Age or whatever armor in like gold tin cans, it's going to look ridiculous on screen.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Well,
no one's going to watch that.
Completely. So they showed like what it actually should look like, and it looked completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, come on, let's just see what he's doing. I'm more intrigued to see how he does, the scenes like with the Cyclops or with the sirens or whatever. And there's now like apparently a few people have now seen it. I'm taking it with a pinch of salt and obviously trying to avoid everything now because I have my tickets. I'm seeing it opening day. I'm taking half a day off work to go to the first showing in the biggest screen in town here. So pure dedication here. Now I'm trying to avoid as much as I can. Although I did share this with a few people the other day. I'm trying to finish the book before it comes out. And then there was a bit in it and I'm like, this is the actual unfaithful casting. And it's like one of the suitors comes to Penelope and Telemachus to visit them and is welcomed by Telemachus, played by Tom Holland. And the quote from the book from the suitor is, "Oh, you must be Odysseus's son, Telemachus. How tall you are." And I'm like, now, if we're talking unfaithful casting and we're saying Telemachus is supposed to be tall and they're casting 5'6" Tom Holland, maybe that's a little bit more unfaithful than Lupita Nyong'o. And also, does it really matter? It's so ridiculous.
And
this is something, like, the thing is, nobody's challenging that, are they? Nobody's saying, well, actually, Telemachus is supposed to be tall in the book. Got the height wrong. No, they're all hung up on whatever. And then, the whole crap when they thought that Elliot Page was playing Thingy, the Brad Pitt role. Who was it? Thingy.
Achilles.
Achilles, that's it. Yeah. I'm like, now he's not. He's not playing Achilles apparently, but still. So what if he was?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Also, people are just forgetting that it's just a trailer. This might not be.
And they've kept so much out of it. Yeah, and I think they've kept so much
dialogue.
Yeah.
So
and they're using dad and daddy, and it's like, so what? It's a translation. Oh my goodness. Anyway, people are crazy. They are not quite right in the head. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. It's going to be great. Even if it's not great, I will convince myself it's great. And
I'm very convinced it will be in my top 10, if not my top 5 of the year for sure, without doubt.
What's your number one at the moment?
Obsession, easily.
Oh, I've not seen that yet. It's not out here yet.
Good.
Yeah, that's out here next week. And I need to try and catch that. Yeah,
Definitely
mine's still
not.
28. Mine's still 28 years later. Bone Temple, first new film I saw this year in January, and it's still number one. So
cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
What is your choice then, Heather, for Christopher Nolan films?
I am taking my favourite Nolan film, and that is The Prestige.
Nice. I mean, I asked this question to everyone. Why did you pick this choice? Were there any other kind of films in contention, or was it always going to be this one for you?
Part of me did consider doing Tenet just to try and just for the same reason that you've chosen. No, it was actually, well, yes, but also it was for the similar reason to why you've chosen your one, to kind of try and get to grips with it more and try and find out more in it. And maybe, I mean, it's a wonderfully made film. It's fantastic, but I don't know, I just haven't quite connected with it. So I thought maybe, to have a really massive deep dive on it and then see. Yeah. And then I thought about if I wanted to play really for the win and take something like The Dark Knight or Oppenheimer. And then I thought, you know what? I just want to do The Prestige because it's my favorite. It's my favorite. Also, I am very efficient, and I do actually have a episode with the greatest movie of all time in November doing The Prestige. So I'm like,
okay.
Nice. Just dig out the notes again afterwards.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm all about efficiency. Yeah. Do the prep once. Multiple pods. Yeah.
But, I mean, I do admit we've done The Prestige in the past for this one, and I did just adapt my notes a little bit and added more stuff. So I'll admit that now. But yeah, it's a great film. But what happens in The Prestige, Heather?
Well, what does happen? We're going spoilers. Magicians are obsessed, generally. Yes. So we have two magicians, and played by Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. Something happens between them that turns them into enemies. They were always, competing a little bit anyway, but they were more, amateurs. So not really a big deal yet. But something happens that turns them into sworn enemies. And the rest of the film is about them trying to, top each other or better themselves as well. With what they do in their magic tricks.
Yes. And both characters very much get very obsessed with what they're doing. Obsessed. One more than the other one, I would say. And there's some really interesting things with sort of, science fiction themes as well, in terms of kind of the technology of the day, which I found really interesting, as there is a real life figure in this film as well, played by David Bowie, who plays Tesla, which is very exciting always when you see David Bowie on screen. So initial reactions then for me when I saw The Prestige, it's a Christopher Nolan film. You get a lot of like the timey-wimey sort of stuff where he hops around a lot. You certainly get that a lot in the beginning, and it's very much like a puzzle box film, like a lot of his films are to a certain extent, and you're just very much in it. Certainly the first time I watched this, and you're just really trying to figure this puzzle out, and the reveals when they happen, when you think you know what's going to happen, it pulls the rug under from you, and you're like, oh my god, I did not see that coming at all. And then when you watch it again, you're like, how the hell did I miss this?
Oh my god, yes, it's so obvious. But that's the whole point. Like, that is literally what Michael Caine says.
Yes.
Or the line.
What I find interesting about this film as well is that the secret to this film is in the opening shot and in the opening dialogue.
We have multiple top hats, and then we have the bird. And it's
Are you looking closely?
Yeah.
Watching closely?
I mean, clearly not. Or the bit at the end where it's like, we just want to be fooled. Mm-hmm. No? And which is a theme, and I think that is one of these evergreen themes that you can find throughout Nolan's films. That they even if this is a period piece and it's two obsessed magicians, there's still these human themes that he has throughout any of his films. Ultimately, I know people say, "Oh, he's very cold," but there's always something there to relate to. I find, which is why I just love his work so much. But this is you just feel really stupid.
So, getting into it then. So, like, one of the first things I noticed about the directing here is that you never really get like a good look at Fallon, certainly for the first like hour and a half, I would say. Because if you do, like, I think the audience would be able to tell that the character is Christian Bale, I think. I guess it's kind of difficult to analyze it when I've seen it, when we've both seen it a lot, but I think Nolan is very conscious of that. There's like no lingering long close-up shots on Fallon. Like when there is close-up shots of Fallon, they are very short, especially the first time you watch the film. You can't like tell it's him necessarily. Like the second time you watch it, you can really tell in those small glimpses that it is definitely Bale. It's
just really bizarre because Christian Bale is one of my favorite actors and I've seen so many films that he's in. But the thing about Christian Bale, he is always a bit of a chameleon. Yeah. So maybe that's why he is able to fool us so well. I mean, he's obviously in the Fallon makeup. He's got the jowls. He's done something to the nose. He's just generally a bit fuller. The hair's all over the place. He's got the hat. But yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's near the end that you get the good view, but it's you get half shots like you say. So the way it's like blocked and edited, it's very quick edits. Like one quick shot of Fallon, or from behind, or he's half in the shot, or he's like in the background, and the focus is on whoever is in the front of the shot. So,
it's done so well that Nolan isn't making it obvious, as you say. Like he's not making it obvious that he's kind of hiding something in a way with that particular character. It's an impressive balancing act for me. But then if you just carefully kind of listen to pretty much every line Rebecca Hall is saying to Christian Bale, you can probably work it out.
Yes. And also what I noticed, the thing is about what I find incredible about The Prestige is, and this is probably more the writing, but I know we're in direction, but like this is probably more writing, is, often with like twist films, it's like the rewatchability is like, okay, you watch it once, whoa, shock, twist. You watch it maybe a second time to see what you missed, and then it's done. And then you're done because you're like, well, but I find that I see different things in The Prestige every single time. And the weird thing is that every time I haven't watched it for a while, I always forget how it opens. Like I'm convinced for some unknown reason, I've got it into my head that it starts with the magic trick going wrong, well, the knot scene going wrong. I'm convinced that's where it starts, but it doesn't. So I don't know whether in my head I've kind of put the film in chronological order. I don't know, like maybe that's like, I'm not sure. Like, because and every time it's like starts with the hats, with the multiple hats. I'm like, oh, really? Did it always start that way?
I feel like that's you like completing the puzzle and you kind of can't unsee the story order anymore.
I've done one of these, those little freebie puzzles that you always used to get like at shows, and it was like, or I don't know, car sales rooms or something, with like 9 bits, and you had to kind of try and move them about to make the actual picture. It's like that. And I've completed it for The Prestige, so now it plays. Wow. I just need to work on it for Memento. But I don't know, it's really weird. But I feel like convinced it starts there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm always playing that game with Christopher Nolan films, and certainly with this film as well. Like for me, watching the film for this podcast, like there's a really great moment of like childhood innocence that is really interesting here, because early on you see that Rebecca Hall's kid, I think it's her cousin actually, that he sees like right through Burden's trick where the yellow budgie reappears, but the kid's like, you killed it, that's his brother. And Burden
Where's
says,
his brother?
Quite shocked, and he says, he's a sharp lad, your son, which of course is the basis of the simplicity of Borden's whole trick. Another great example of why the film has so much kind of great rewatch value.
Yes, and also that is foreshadowing Angia's trick, isn't it? Because somebody's dead.
Yeah.
So it's just all so simple. It's all so spelled out. But the fact that I can keep going back to it and see something new every time. What was it this time? I think there was a throwaway line from Bale. Yeah, there's so many lines in it. And I say this is more the writing, of course, where he just talks about, we were two young boys or something like that, or just you get the impression, it's just like it's obvious. Like there's the two of them, and they grew up together, and not just like Fallon being, a friend. He's clearly referring to his twin, who, ultimately is Fallon. But it's just, yeah. And I think that's what makes it rewatchable, despite even when you know the twist or have guessed the twist. Maybe you did. I did the first time I saw it. Felt pretty stupid, but
I didn't. It's just a testament to how well structured this film is, for sure. And one other thing that's really kind of really interesting about Christopher Nolan in this film is kind of his casting choices. Like, I really like the decision to cast like Hugh Jackman's like double as Hugh Jackman, the character Root, this English guy, this kind of this out of work actor. When you're watching it, it doesn't feel right just casting Hugh Jackman for a character that's supposed to look very like similar to him. They could have cast like an actor that just looks like Hugh, but I think the film is just telling you kind of secretly that this is the only way Borden's doing this. Like, he's a twin, people, but that casting choice completely throws you off. Like, the sense that Borden is a twin, because you wouldn't think that the film would do exactly the same thing with Christian Bale, and also kind of adds to this whole mystery element of Tesla's machine. Like, has that got to do with something with Borden's transported man trick, which also kind of occupies your mind during the film as well, for me at least. So it's just a really interesting kind of casting choice with that part for me.
And I think that's the way to do it, because, as to your point, that's spelling it out again in a way.
Yeah.
But and Michael Caine also says it right from the beginning. He says we need to find, that's how he's doing it. He's doing it with a double. That's what we need to do. And Hugh Jackman is kind of the one who's saying no, that's too simple. And for some unknown reason, and I don't even know why we do this as an audience, we trust at the beginning when we're watching the very first time, we believe Hugh Jackman rather than Michael Caine, which is really bizarre, because Michael Caine is usually in, when he's in Nolan films, the kind of voice of reason.
Yes.
In a way. Okay. And then I know with the second film we're talking about, there's
takes it a lot further.
Well, the second film we talk about is being very interesting to discuss our thoughts on Michael Caine and what we think his position is in this film. But in this one, although I do think he can be a little bit antagonistic depending on whose side you're on, but of course they're both just awful people, both of them. But I think at the beginning you are supposed to kind of be more on Angie's side. He's the one who's lost the wife. Hey, dead wife, woo, theme. Well done, Chris. You've got a dead wife in there. What a surprise. Dead wife and men with problems is generally the problems, the themes we have here. And obsession, just in every film, I think. So you do kind of side, I think, with Angie at the beginning.
Yeah,
sympathy,
a little bit.
Lost his wife. Bit shit, wants to get back at him. Fair enough. I mean, where he says, when he does try and get some revenge on Borden and ends up shooting his fingers off, it's like, oh well, surely now you're equal. I think is it Caine, Michael Caine, who says that? Like, and he's like, well, it's not the same. Never. It's like two fingers, and it's my wife. So fair point, yeah. But then it really turns the more he gets obsessed, and I just think that's also really subtle as well. How again, it is in the writing, but I think it's also in the direction and how Angiers is portrayed. But there's hints of it at the very, even at the beginning, where or near the beginning, before he really descends into madness and obsession, where he with his double is not the one getting the applause. And he's under the stage getting the applause, and he cannot deal with that. He has major issues with that, because he is the showman. And then was, of course, Hugh Jackman a few years later is The Greatest Showman.
A very inferior film, but I
don't know. It's got my girl Zendaya in it,
okay.
So I think that's almost where it sort of really starts, that he realizes that he cannot cope or deal with somebody else getting the attention. This is Root who does the prestige part of that trick, and so he's under the stage taking a bow, but he's not happy with that.
I mean, I really love how the script really does focus on Angier's obsession about how Borden does the transported man trick, because there's a point where like Angier has actually achieved Borden's trick with using a double without realizing, but he can't like handle receiving the applause, as you say, under the stage, and it doesn't satisfy his ego enough. Then of course, like Borden takes advantage of that for his own act, humiliating him.
Oh,
on his
I love
own
that
stage.
scene. That's a great scene. Yeah.
And then there's a scene where he's arguing with Scarlett Johansson's character, Olivia, and Olivia has been kind of spying on Borden, and Olivia tells Angiers that he uses kind of a double, and she's seen the disguises laying around all the time, and Angiers says, all the time, Olivia? That's who he is. That's what it takes. He lives his act, don't you see? And what he's saying is true, of course, but Angiers is convinced that it's more complicated than that, but it's actually not. Angiers is desperate to find out how he does it, but Cutter and Olivia keep telling him it's a double, but he just won't listen to the obvious explanation. His own obsession with this brings out his own kind of dark side in a way as well.
And there's that line at the end where he says, I don't care about my wife. I care about, what is it? I care about the trick or something like that. And it's how he's doing it. Yeah. And that just shocks. I think it's to Olivia. Is it to Olivia he says it? And she's just like shocked. Like, no, you've gone too far, mate. Yeah. Like that is sick.
It definitely brings out his dark side. And I'm trying to find kind of an answer that isn't there, I think, with that moment. And then later when like Angiers opens the note that seemingly reveals Borden's secret, it reads Tesla. Borden is in a way is kind of just goading on his obsession with the secret of the trick, and it's just it happens to just be the keyword to his notebook and not the key to his trick.
But it's not even that, because as we find out later, he has literally just written the notebook with full of bullshit just to goad Angier, and the whole thing is not true. So we have here again another Nolan trope, different levels of storytelling, the diary within the diary, the story within the diary, and multiple narrators, very Inception, dream within a dream. We have that kind of similar theme here as well. So I think even though the prestige on paper isn't maybe as yes, it's jumping around in times. And I read, by the way, it's got 146 time jumps, which is insane.
And also,
it's like one a minute.
The kind of that moment where he reveals the keyword Tesla. In my brain, I thought it was like, oh, could this be a double bluff with the fact that could Borden be like the other man that Tesla used in his machine? Like then,
that's what he's playing it up to be. That's what he's saying. That's what he's implying, because he's saying that's the key to my trick. So that then says Angiers knows who Tesla is and says, right, to Cutter, we need to go to America, because he knows that's where Tesla is, in North Carolina, I think it is, and in Colorado, wherever, somewhere like in the middle of nowhere, and he needs to go and find him, and like that's what it is, and ultimately that is how he ends up achieving what he wants to achieve. But it's obviously it's still not what Borden was doing. So, I mean, the question is did Borden know that the Angiers, he must have known that Angier would then go, and then, but he clearly didn't know that that's what he was going to be doing, because at the end, he is surprised when he sees
I think it is definitely an element. The clone. There is definitely an element of goading and just like trying to mess with him, I think. From my angle, maybe at least. But there's another scene that's kind of really interesting to do with his obsession, and that's it goes with this kind of interesting point, is that there's an earlier scene with Angier and Tesla where you meet Tesla for the first time, that Tesla is kind of warning him that his own obsession with his own technology just kind of destroyed his career, and what Angier is asking of him will come at a great cost. That on the surface, set in this time period, is kind of unthinkable. So Tesla is also kind of acts like a future version of what could happen to Angier from a kind of a psychological point of view as well. So I really enjoyed that scene in particular.
I think David Bowie is amazing in this. Yeah. But I mean, Cutter also warns him. Everybody's warning him not to do this. Cutter says to him, he speaks out. He says, obsession is a young man's thing.
Yeah, and I think like when you are obsessed, like I am with podcasting, you don't often listen to the outside voices. You stop listening. You just have such a tunnel vision until you reach your end goal. Yeah. And you kind of lose sight of the cost that Tesla is warning him about, because he's experienced it himself.
Well, this is the thing, and this ties in with like all the, the kind of the evergreen themes that are in every single Nolan film. People say, "Oh, he's very cold filmmaking," and I disagree, but okay, whatever. But he's got so many films, so many themes that you can just like resonate, even though this one is maybe not quite as big in scope or big themes like the other film we'll be talking about. But this one, I think you can still relate to it. Everybody, you were just saying about like, tongue in cheek, but still like about podcasts or, sometimes if you just get, I need to do something every day. I mean, whether it's some kind of ritual that you have to do every day. And if you don't do it, you just think something's, you feel weird. It's like, oh, I didn't, my brother says to me, like once, like it was in COVID times, he goes, he had a ritual when he went into the office of how many times he had to, pump the hand disinfection into his hand, how he had to rub his hands. And, that's a small thing, but that's like these kind of mini, I don't want to say OCD because I know that is an official term and people use it too lightly when they don't really mean it. But that, that kind of thing. And, just habits. And you don't realize it's a problem until it then gets taken away. It's like a cold turkey, any addiction in a way, like alcohol or cigarettes.
Yeah.
Other
and if
kind
you
of
don't,
drugs,
if you don't ask for help, if you don't ask for help, it can only end one way. And obviously, it ends with Angia's death. Well, all of the versions of Angia die.
Yeah, multiple deaths.
and you would think, maybe, is there going to be a certain dark point where he's like, I can't do this anymore? But no, the obsession is too strong. Even gambling on whether he's going to be inside the tank or the other clone, that doesn't come into account for him. He's still going to perform the trick, regardless of whether his double is going to. Regardless of having the knowledge that his double is going to die every single time.
Yeah, I mean, there's only the one time, and it's the first time he does it, is when in the actual machine it's in Tesla's house, or has it got it delivered to him? I can't remember, but either way, the first time he does, in the flashback they show you at the very end where they're kind of doing everything quickly, and you see him doing the first time, and he shoots
himself,
his clone, because he's so freaked out. And it's like, mate, maybe that was a sign. Maybe stop there, right? But no, he's like, oh, actually, okay, that freaks me out, but I'm still here, I'm still fine. And then he decides to proceed. So he did have opportunities to stop. Yeah, like to your point,
multiple.
Like he just didn't need to get this far, Robert, right? Like, but yeah, and he just it's quite scary, but also, I mean, I think people can still relate to it. We don't go that far, but I think it's something that we many people have experienced, whether it's addiction or whatever, and just realizing podcasting, coffee in my case,
chocolate. I mean, everyone's addicted to chocolate. That doesn't count.
Exactly. That doesn't count. What are you talking about?
But going back to kind of Christopher Nolan's writing in a kind of a structural sense, I think he's so confident in what he's doing. It's quite remarkable for me, because I kind of love how this kind of story unravels in this film. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of Memento a little bit, because like the opening scenes are basically the end of the story, as you said, or the epilogue. As we see Angia die in the water tank, supposedly murdered by Borden, Christian Bale's character, then we go back to the start where we see Angia travel to Colorado trying to decode Borden's diary and trying to meet Tesla and his experiments for his trick. Then we go back even further, right back to the start where Borden and Angia were friends and working together as magicians starting out. So right from the start, there's so much kind of intrigue of what's going on with these two characters, of why did they have such a strong rivalry to lead to Borden seemingly murder Angia, in air quotes, at this point in the film. So as kind of the film moves forward, you have kind of these two timelines, like the rivalry between the two magicians creating their own kind of magic acts with the bullet catch and the bird cage, while sabotaging each other too, of course, driven for Angia by taking revenge on for the death of his wife, etc. Then the other timeline is kind of in the future, where Angia, or the present, however you want to call it, he's so fascinated by kind of the electrical kind of experiments of Tesla's work, while Borden is in jail. But what's interesting as well is that you're pretty much an hour into the film and you still don't know why Angier is fascinated by these electrical experiments. Like the reveal of Borden's trick of the transported man isn't known to us yet, still an hour in, roughly. So I love how kind of strong the mystery of the visuals are and the confidence in the script that Nolan has kind of the patience to keep the secrets of this film hidden for such a long time, for as long as possible. And I absolutely love that about this film and a lot of his other films too.
So much restraint here as well. And I think that's a real, masterpiece of direction, quite frankly, in that sense. Like different to the film we're talking about afterwards, but which is also in a different way. This is just really controlled, very restrained. He could show a lot more. He could go all out there, but he doesn't. It's just like gradually. You have to be very patient with it, and it's like gradually piecing it together. It's the same with Memento. When I went back to Memento earlier in the year, first time in quite a while, so much that I'd forgotten. But I was like, no, I can't, because again, when you haven't watched something for a long time and you know the twist, you know the story, you have it very different in your mind because you know what the clever filmmaking techniques are and how they build the story together. But I was just, watching it, trying to be very patient. This is exactly the same, but it still moves thanks to the editing, of course, which is like, like all the time jumps and it's insane. You're still moving along and but you're not being overwhelmed with too much information where you're just like, oh, okay, come on. Like Tenet, I've just find after a while you kind of just go with it, don't understand, just feel, but it's still frustrating in a way. Yeah, because you don't quite get it. Also, you can't hear what they're saying, so
Yes, definitely. But I think the balance is just really well thought out here with
so precise. That's what I've written down. Very precise. I've written as a main word for direction.
How much information you're given versus still keeping the mystery element to the film for a good hour, and then things start to add up a little bit more. And I think with Tenet, there's too much. The balance isn't quite right, and I think sort of the information dumps, the exposition dumps, if you will, sort of outweigh sort of the mystery, the kind of the science fiction mystery of that film compared to this film and Interstellar as well, I would say.
I mean, this one has, as you said earlier, it has science in it, clearly, but it's nothing that we cannot understand. I do not need to, and also it's like it's completely unreal science, unlike Interstellar, right? So and I'm sure we'll talk about this, but like they're trying so hard to be real and true science, which admirable, right? Here it's like, no, we know it's not real, but it's still plausible. We still go along with it, and it will, then suddenly the reveal of the hats and then suddenly with the cloned cat and everything. It's just so well done. And I think it's a film that you can watch once and get everything, I think, if you are looking closely. But it is, saying going back to it and watching it again, see what you missed, which is pretty much everything, and it's all right there. But
or if you watch it at half speed or something, I don't know, then you might be able to do it. For me.
But it's what else I made a note of, like it's similar to other films. There's also Nolan trope a little bit as well, as the visual storytelling very strong in this one because it's all there. It is all there. Like it's all hiding in plain sight, as they say.
Yeah,
and
I think
we're just being fooled. We just don't want to see it.
I think certainly with Christopher Nolan, with his visuals, he's becoming more of a visual filmmaker. That's definitely the case. I think as he's kind of filming on a larger canvas with IMAX, the visuals are becoming more important for him in terms of scale. I don't think you really necessarily think, Chris Nolan, The Prestige, with visual style, but it's still like a stunningly shot film. There's some really great visual moments here with, I remember all the light bulbs in the snow with no wires. That's amazing. And like with David Bowie's entrance coming out of the lightning, like you can't get like a better entrance than that for such an iconic musician.
That entrance is incredible. Yeah. But so I thought this, but I was pleasantly surprised when I double checked my facts and saw that it was actually recognised for cinematography by the Academy.
Oh, wow.
It didn't win, but it was nominated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know what wasn't nominated? Interstellar. But there we go.
Wow.
Another question. Yep. But yeah, I was really quite, I mean, that's actually kind of inspired. So it was nominated for cinematography, Wally Vista, and art direction, which is now production design. And fair, quite frankly, great. I mean, I would probably have also said adapted screenplay. By the way, have not read the source material. I don't know if you have. I haven't. But I actually thought it was an original, but there we go. That's just my ignorance. Yeah, so I think that's kind of inspired. I mean, I think in my opinion, it should have got more, but yeah, whatever. The two that it did get, pretty good, and can't argue with it. And so even though, you know, the cinematography is not flashy, it's still being recognized because of, you know, what we were saying earlier about how they show Fallon, or these very memorable shots of the hats, of the light bulbs, of David Bowie, and then also the whole machine for the production design. Obviously, how they shoot the actual magic tricks on the stage. It's wonderfully done. And as again, come back to the scene under the stage with Jackman and how that is lit, you know, just behind. He's lit from behind. He's lit from the front, and you see him from behind. And
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. It's just so.
I do miss
so good, but it seems simple.
Yeah, I do miss Wally Pfister though. What's happened to him? You know,
what's he done? Yeah, it's like he was
I think he
replaced by Hoyt von Hoytema, and then it's like, then what? He did Batman.
He directed that sci-fi film with Johnny Depp that may have killed his career. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. That's why he didn't do. That's why he didn't do Interstellar.
Oh right, yeah.
I think so. That's why he switched, and then since then he's been with Hoyt von Hoytema. So
yeah.
Who is also very good at his job.
Yeah. I would like to talk a little bit more about the reveals at the end of the film, because I do still find it quite fascinating. And for some reason, I always seem to forget about the one where you find out that Angier is kind of hiding himself as Lord Cadwell, who takes custody of Borden's daughter. I was like, oh, wow, okay. Why do I always forget that? I don't know.
He also got that extra diary that Borden is reading then in prison. You know, and he's like, so it's also another something within a something. You know,
it certainly is quite an evil thing to do for me, to take revenge for your wife's death, to like steal away the other guy's daughter. So I think,
and let him be killed.
Yeah. So and that. So you do think, oh wow, that must be the final reveal. That was fun, which of course makes Borden being a twin even more kind of surprising for me. But what I find kind of more interesting in a way is that those kind of last lines from Angier's as he's dying, and he says, like, the audience knows the truth, the world is simple, miserable, solid all the way through, but if you could fool them even for a second, you can make them wonder, and you can get to see something very special. You really don't know. It was the look on their faces. So it kind of feels like, you know, the film is kind of performing magic in a way, at the same, like, as the same thing as making a movie for Chris Nolan in a way, you know, putting still images together, making a moving image on the big screen is kind of like a big magic trick as well. So
it's all art, isn't it?
Yeah, Nolan's commitment to shooting on film, creating things practically and presenting it in cinemas, etc. You know, there are similarities to his own kind of obsession and philosophy in this film at the end. I think you can certainly see that point of view. And I think there's something to say also about kind of Tesla's work with his rivalry with Thomas Edison in this kind of historical setting, where he says that the truly extraordinary is not permitted in science and industry, and that the extraordinary is better suited to industries where mysteries make people happy and are entertained by it. So there is kind of a slight sort of meta aspect to this film I find fascinating in that way. Nolan is able to kind of ground the mystery of the impossible science fiction in real history. So, you know, it's kind of similar in that way to Interstellar as well, with some of the science fiction themes. That's going on
exactly.
there.
he's got these two critical real life figures in a way. I mean, one is only mentioned, but everybody's heard of Thomas Edison, and that kind of grounds it in real life, so that part of you is like, could this be real? Did Tesla actually do something like this? No, but you're doubting yourself. You're doubting yourself. So, and I love that, because I will just go along. I'm not the biggest science fiction person, because a lot of it is just too unbelievable to me. But if I'm bought in and going along with it,
I'm sensing your scores for Interstellar already, but carry on.
No. Yeah, the Interstellar is more to it than just science fiction. But recently, obviously, Disclosure Day came out from Steven Spielberg, and I was so bought into it with the thriller aspect. And I knew it was a thriller sci-fi with what they're trying to do and what they're trying to cover up or what they're trying to disclose. But where it kind of lost me was when it did get into that sort of more typical science fiction with actual aliens and actual depicting things that I know, because no, are not real. No, aliens are real. Sorry, Stephen. Oh, yes. Okay, they probably are. But the point is, it's not. I'm kind of very stuck in what's real now. So I'm very
it definitely
cynical.
Feels like an old-fashioned film in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I don't do very well with like magical realism. So there was some scenes in there where I'm like, okay, I'm out, and that's it has to be grounded in reality for me. So that's why I can buy into this whole Tesla thing, because I'm like, it sounds all very plausible.
Yeah, definitely.
Like this and because to your point, because they've given us these two real life figures, that makes me sort of, part of me is like, well, this could totally happen, because I know Tesla was real and I know Edison was real.
Yeah, and it kind of gives you sort of this viewpoint into sort of their scientific minds at that time. In the Industrial Revolution, things were all becoming very new. There were so many possibilities that were available to them. So it doesn't feel like too much of a stretch that, this cloning machine could happen. Maybe that's why kind of Hugh Jackman's character doesn't freak out and be like, no, I'm not doing it anymore.
I'm going to shoot him first of all, but now I'm going along with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so isn't it?
They have more of an open mind. I mean, I'm not from the Victorian area, but I'm just speculating. I think the film does an interesting job of trying to get you into the psychology, into the mind of these characters, of what is actually possible during that time.
Yeah. And I think we don't even question necessarily, because nowadays, if we were to watch, also they've got packed theatres for like a magic show. It's like insane. Like this would not happen nowadays, obviously. But the fact is, they were just like so impressed in a way. But then, of course, later on in the film, when Borden's trying some things out, they're not impressed, and he's like, "Oh, wait for the real trick." And then he, does the trick that he's been kind of working up to his whole life. Because we've also got to remember, he and his twin have been living this double life for how long? Because ever since we saw them, even when they were younger musicians. And he does have that moment to Sarah when he says, "Oh, I'm working up to this big trick. It's just not ready yet. It's not ready." And because that's clearly what they've been planning. I've got to cut the fingers off. Yeah. Good grief. Did it sacrifice? Another theme here. Clearly what he's willing to do.
Why is it bleeding again? So
I know, it's so obvious. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And what's her face? Rebecca Hall does actually she's got one line that she improvised.
Oh, okay.
Where she almost gives it away. The line where she says, hang on, where is it? She says, "I know what you are." That was improvised by her. And I'm like, whoa, okay. But clearly, I guess Nolan was like, well, we'll keep that in there because there's so many other obvious signs. Like that's going to do anything. I didn't even really pick up on that. The one about "I love you, not today" is that was obviously in the script, and that's one of the clues. But she actually improvised that one about "I know what you are." Yeah.
Let's talk a bit more about the acting. Like, I think Hugh Jackman is amazing in this film. Like, especially when kind of his wife dies, and he's so kind of in this emotional moment for his wife, and he's not kind of distracted by the other characters or the audience. He's so in the emotion, in that trauma. Plus, kind of the next scene he's in, he's even better when he's trying to kind of like drown himself in the sink. Then when he kind of comes up, he has this kind of uncomfortable crying thing with his breathing. which you rarely kind of see an actor get to in a film. So it's quick, but really impressive in that moment. And I think Hugh Jackman is allowed to kind of express his range as well. I feel like he's just having a great time, like playing his double
Root. Yeah, love Root.
with that fantastic English accent.
Better than other people's.
Yes. I wonder who that is. Yeah, Scarlett Johansson's accent.
Oh.
All over the place. Like she seems to be doing like an extreme Cockney accent and then to kind of like plain English in the same scene. At one point. You know, and it's just like, oh no. I think, you know, Scarlett Johansson is good from, you know, an acting point of view, but I think she needs a better dialect coach.
I don't even know why they bothered. I mean, I'm kind of like, well, look, they've made Hugh Jackman American, you know, and they've explained his backstory of like why he's there. Like, just let her be American. It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Or just plain English, just a normal, simple English accent. I don't even know what
she's trying to do. Yeah. No, I don't know if that would work either. I mean, it's just, and then Freddie, what are you doing now? What's that? It's like, she's also like a double role. I was like, it really distracted me, I have to say. It kind of half took me out half the time. I think it bothered me more in rewatches, weirdly enough. I think because when I first saw it many, many, many years ago, I don't think Scarlett Johansson was really like Scarlett Johansson. But then when you go back to it and you're like, oh, that's Scarlett Johansson. And oh God, no, I don't like it. I think Hugh Jackman does a better job, but that whole character is over the top and a former actor, so he can go bigger with the accent or over the top with the English accent. Yeah, but no, I think you're absolutely right. I think this is possibly. I think this is Jackman's best performance. Maybe I don't know. He's good in Prisoners, although he goes a bit over the top in Prisoners at times. But he's quite big in Prisoners. I'm trying to think what else. I feel like
it's interesting because I think maybe Prisoners maybe gets a little bit overlooked because I think probably Prisoners is right up there for Hugh Jackman, but I always find with Prisoners the best performance in that film is from Jake Gyllenhaal. He's exceptional
I agree.
In that film.
Yes.
I still can't believe I haven't done an episode with him yet. I need to, desperately.
He's done a new film come out.
Yeah.
Hire in. What's he got coming out? What's he doing? What's Jake Gyllenhaal doing?
Well, he had that film with Henry Cavill that completely flopped.
That film that nobody knew about.
Yeah, that actually.
We talked about Jake last time because we did Zodiac.
Yes, we did. Yeah, but I think Christian Bale does a brilliantly subtle performance here as well when he's kind of, especially when he's performing his bullet catch trick, like the realization moment where like the volunteer Fallon chooses to fire the gun is in fact Angier is brilliant. Like Bale's face, you know, has this kind of incredible subtle change of like, oh shit, I'm in trouble here. Then you kind of have the reverse as well later when Bale messes up Jackman's trick with the bird trick, but the same scene, but it's kind of cut a little bit quicker and you don't get kind of to see Hugh Jackman's face change from sort of stage face to oh shit, he's in trouble face. But you know, you just get
that is very quick.
Trouble face, but it's still.
And then you see the woman screaming. I think the thing about Christian Bale is that people say it's a double role. It's actually not. It's a triple role because he's got to play. He's playing one twin. He's playing the other twin, looking the same as the twins, looking the same basically when they're not dressed up, and then the twins as Fallon. So actually, maybe it's even four. The twins normal. Both of them, and then twins both as Fallon, depending on. But I think on rewatches, it's one of the things that you notice is just subtle things. I mean, obviously, there's a way he talks to Sarah, or the way he talks to Olivia, or what he says. That's kind of obvious, like on the second or third rewatch. But then there's other smaller things, just like looks, or sometimes like the way he's walking, or just like sitting about or something. Like one of them is a lot more kind of flamboyant, more showman-like, more that's the one that's in love with Olivia. And you can kind of tell, I think, in the sort of like slightly more confident way he moves. And then there's the one that's like much softer. I mean, not much. I say not much because it's all very subtle. But there is one that you can tell in the way he speaks, the tone of voice a little bit, how he talks to Sarah, you can tell as well. And you're picking up on that. And the more you watch it, you're more like, oh, this is really, really subtle. But I mean, that's Bale. He is a master at just disappearing into different kind of roles and forgetting who you're watching, but making it very, very subtle. I mean, just, what he's doing in, with facial looks, with eyes, with, hand gestures or arm or his body language. Yes, it's fabulous, but very understated. I think, obviously, I think Hugh Jackman has got the bigger performance, and his performance is more about the change. Obviously, he's got the double role with Root, but like the change in Angia's from beginning, then the wife situation, and then the gradual descent into obsession. I just love anybody who's doing something like that, where you see it's so gradual and it's never subtle, but there's like just, and they've got to play that role at every single point of the obsession descent. And it's a good job, such a good job.
What's really interesting about that as well is that you never think that he's going crazy or mad. Like a lot of other films might go down that direction. He's still extremely focused. Again, it's sort of that tunnel vision that Hugh Jackman brings this character, that he's going to stop at nothing to achieve his goal, but sort of the crazy mad side of how these kind of characters sometimes can go. They don't do that.
No,
it's very,
because we understand why. And it is, even at the beginning when everybody's still alive, it's Warden, well, probably like the slightly more out there manic twin. He's the one, pushing to do the different knot. I do believe it is him. It's that one. But you see there's kind of pushing, going further. Although interestingly, Jackman, of course, is the one that's clearly very conservative there, but that's because it's his wife, so clearly he knows what could happen. But I think it's because we were saying earlier, it's all so relatable. Everybody, even if you wouldn't necessarily go to these extremes to clone and then kill yourself, every night, it's still relatable in terms of obsession, what we're saying, addiction, just performance, art, suffering for your art.
Yeah.
We can all relate to that in some way. We can all relate to that, or just sacrificing certain things. Like just, if you look at, I don't know, like sports stars, right? They have probably missed out on a lot of stuff in their childhood because talent was discovered, and therefore it was like, no, you're going to have to choose. Like you'll have to, I don't know if you're get up at 4 a.m. to go and practice before school or whatever. And that's either you're willing to make that sacrifice or you're not. But that's how you get greatness. And I think it's very relatable.
And I like sleep too much, so that's not me.
I did the after school stuff, but I was like, I'm not doing 4 a.m. practices. No. I can't do anything before mid. I can't. Sport is something it's like not before midday. It's not going to happen. So,
favorite shot or scene for you, Heather?
I think I've had it a few times. I just love the Jackman one under the stage. I think that is because there's so much more to it than just, obviously it's beautifully shot and everything, but what it actually means for the rest of the story and why that triggers what it does. It almost like sets off the whole rest of drives forward the rest of the story and why he does what he's doing, because he cannot stand not being center stage and taking the applause. So, and I just think it's like also beautifully shot, that one. And of course, the David Bowie entrance is cool. Incredible.
I'm going for kind of the very last shot, I think, which is quite haunting. When a fire is kind of burning down the basement of Angia's theatre, and Borden sees all the water tanks, and we pan to the nearest one, and you see all the dead bodies of Angia, and realise there's a dead body in all of them. And that's quite, because it doesn't really go down sort of like horror tropes or horror aspects, but then that's just kind of the last kind of note that the film ends on with that.
I think
it gets very dark and like, oh wow. That hits
what
hard.
What is it ratings wise? Is it a PG or is it P?
Oh, that's a good question.
Or is it 12? Because I think that's for a reason. Because I'm watching it. I'm like, that is something that you could theoretically show like a kid. Like, I don't think there's anything really majorly in it. I mean, it's got darker themes, but like you were saying, it's not really. There's nothing really bad in it. I don't know. I say this, and I watched Silence of the Lambs when I was like 15, so 14. So I'm like, maybe I don't think like I think I watched so many things far too early that I just cannot judge. So
yeah, they don't show the fingers being cut off, I suppose.
No, they don't, and they don't show with his cage. They don't show the
you know what
the hands or whatever in the cage.
Yeah, the scenes that kind of give me a lot of anxiety, and I think I deleted this note actually, but is that there's a long, you definitely get the sense that the girl at the start, I forget her name, Angier's wife, is going to die. Like when
Julia.
As soon as Julia, when Michael Caine is kind of holding the axe while the trick is going on for the first time, when it is successful, and you're like, yeah, she ain't coming out, something bad is going to happen.
And he's got his timer.
And you have to wait, you feel like you have to wait a long time before that kind of trick comes up again. And then when it's happening, it's very much shot in real time, and it really stokes up my anxiety with that. I'm like, oh my God. Even seeing it multiple times, I'm still like, oh, because it's that sense of drowning. It's like an awful.
I think that's
like
the
Michael
worst.
Caine says.
Oh, and he says, yeah.
He lied about what it's like about death by drowning. It's. I think I've got it written.
Well,
down,
he said at the beginning when he lies, he says he like he sees everything like he felt like he was coming home.
Yes.
To this seaman, but actually he said no, he lied. He said it was like awful agony. That's the word. Yeah. Which I'm sure. I mean, come on, that would be awful. I think that's really. See, I'm a swimmer, and I think I have more respect for water than a lot of people. And even though I'm like a strong swimmer, I think that's often the case because you know absolutely what can happen. You just get it so drilled into you, like how to be safe in water, how to think, what can happen. Like I did life-saving classes as well. And I think, you just have to, I totally understand that you complete respect of water. And I think drowning would just be when you hear about what happens and it'd be, oh no, slow as well. You just have to hope you lose consciousness quickly, I guess. Oh, God.
Yeah, because I think if Angiers finds out that fact from Michael Caine earlier in the film, that you have a completely different trajectory of this film.
Question though on
Possibly,
that though,
yeah.
Who dies every time? By the way, because I see that being discussed. To me, it's obvious, but like, who is it? The clone or is it the starting one? Like, obviously, the starting one being a clone again.
There is that line from Angier that he always wonders whether he's going to be the guy in the box or out on stage. Like every time he does the trick. But I would assume for sure it is the clone every time.
Of course.
He gets drowned.
Obviously, yes.
So, I mean, because he retains his memory for sure.
Oh, no, wait, hang on. No, I think I disagree. Wait a minute. No, actually. No, wait, hang on. Because he
recognises...
Yeah, but you retain everything because they say, like, the hat is literally yours. Like, they say that about the hat. Yes. It retains everything.
Well, it's a complete
copy,
just a hat. Isn't it? So...
It's a complete copy.
Yeah.
But... Because wait, hang on. If he's let's talk through this because there's so many different opinions in this. He is the one. He does this trick. He gets cloned, right? Mm-hmm. Drops into the water, dies. But the one that gets because it's transported. Like when they do the trick, with the Tesla machine, and then the hats are like somewhere in the garden, and the cat is also somewhere there. Like they don't realize the clone is the one that appears somewhere else. So isn't it every time not the original, because the original is long gone, but no?
I don't think there's any suggestion when you see kind of the clone for the first time when he ends up shooting him.
He shoots the clone, that's still the original.
Yeah, I don't think there's any suggestion that he doesn't know who he is, or I feel like, there's nothing telling me watching it that he has no memory of who he is. So I would say it is just an exact copy.
But still. The one who gets exactly, with the memories and everything. So and then he's the new one. It's like in Mickey 17. The new one is the one that then survives and continues, and then because he's got the same memory, he is ultimately the same person because. He's on stage. He gets the machine, like on all the electricity, drops down, clone appears, I think, elsewhere, because that's the whole point. That you have, that was the thing that Tesla said, he's got to work on fine-tuning that bit of the technology, because clearly the hats were all appearing like 100 meters away or 200 meters in the garden.
The showmanship of the trick doesn't work then if he kind of suddenly appears and then
dies. Yeah.
So
because the one that's on stage is the one that goes into the trapdoor and into the water.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
there we go. Makes my brain hurt.
Yes, brain is hurting now. So to the scores for directing then. It's really good.
It's quite good at its job.
It's quite good, yeah. It's very difficult. I think visually it's stunning, and I think, as you say, I feel like nothing is really out of place with this film, whereas I wouldn't say that with Interstellar. I think there are some shots with the editing that feels slightly out of place, and I'll certainly get to that and explain that in the next part. But here, I don't think there's anything really out of place. It all feels extremely natural and fluid with the editing and the framing and everything. I wouldn't say it's one of Christopher Nolan's best visually stunning films, like a lot of his later work, but it's still extremely impressive. And he's so good at just sort of immersing you in this world and really giving kind of the mystery elements, even visually, like Room to Breathe. I remember kind of just when you see kind of the box that the machine is in, there's a lot of patience in that, like the slow push-ins of the box, like what Denis Villeneuve likes to do a lot with that sort of thing to create mystery. So he really knows what he's doing to provoke kind of the emotions for what he's going for with the narrative of this film. So I'll probably give it like a solid 9 for me.
Okay. Yep.
How about you?
I agree. I think the directing is extremely expert, clearly. Yeah. And also all the crafts that are going into that make up the rest of it, like the cinematography, like the editing in particular, production design. So, I mean, basically everything apart from the other two things that we will cover separately, writing and acting. So I'm just counting all of that within the directing score. The score doesn't jump out at me as it does in Interstellar, clearly, obvious. It's just really expert, but it's not showy. I question whether Christopher Nolan and his team is the only people who could do this, which is not to take away from the incredible job that he is doing with his team. When you watch it, it doesn't, the time stuff, the diary within a diary, which is more the writing. Yeah. There's a lot of what is great about The Prestige, and we will come to that, is the writing. That is the strongest element for me of the three that we'll be looking at. But it is, I think that also does in a way the whole direction and the crafts a disservice because we're taking it for granted here. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. 9.4.
Nice.
Still good. Yeah.
Excellent.
So, I mean, but again, I mean, I could say there's nothing, like what you were saying, there's nothing to take points off really. But I think just because it's not...
Got to be picky with Nolan.
Yeah. I mean, I think with Zodiac, I did give it a straight 10 for direction because to me, that can only be Fincher, and it is a directional masterpiece. If the directing isn't working 100%, that's not going to work. I think this film could work. Maybe not every director, of course, but I think if you give them a good script and say, this is what you're going to do, and they get the right people to help them do that, it could still be a good film. So
yeah, absolutely. So favorite lines, I've got a bunch. I've played Caesar. I've played Faust. How difficult could it possibly be to play the great Danton? Which is quite funny.
Yeah. Oh, I can't read my writing. I mean, my favourite one. Oh, sorry. Should I reveal the favourite one already, or just
go for it?
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, my favourite one is, I can't read my writing, but it's the audience knows the truth but prefers to be fooled. Which nice. I think kind of sums up the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we do, don't we?
Yeah.
We're watching it and we're like, you know what? I know what's going on. I don't care.
Yeah. I want to be fooled.
Still having a good time. I want to be fooled. Yeah. And every single time. Something new. Yes, do it again, please, Chris. Yeah.
Are you watching closely?
Yeah, that one, of course. I love you. Not today.
Yeah, that's quite a brutal one. I'm like, oh no, that's definitely the wrong thing to say, even if
but then he admits it later as well himself. Yeah, like she's the one that's cottoned on.
Yeah.
But And she asks him directly just before she does kill herself, Sarah, like she says, and he says, I don't love you, not today. And so he's basically confirming, I think, for the first time. And that's when she then, yeah.
I love David Bowie in this. His line delivery is fantastic. When he's talking to Angier, and Angier says, price is not an object. Perhaps not. But have you considered the cost?
Yes. Yeah.
Trying to warn him.
The Michael Caine one, Obsession, is a young man's game, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And the one that kind of hits hard and really kind of tells you that this guy is super obsessed with what he's doing, with this outburst where he says, I don't care about my wife, I care about his secret.
That's it. Yeah, I misquoted earlier when I said it. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I care about the trick, I think I said, but yeah, it's not, it's his secret. Exactly. That is, yeah. And it's like, it's one of these lines that just comes out of me and you're like, oh shit. And you can, I mean, he doesn't regret saying it, clearly, no. But the weight of that and then the realization on Scarlett Johansson's face, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. Said the quiet part out loud there, Hugh. Yeah.
So screenplay score for me, I mean, you got to go pretty high, haven't you?
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to go a perfect 10 because I feel like a perfect 10 for me is I have to be moved by it in a way. And I don't think it's emotionally as engaging as some of his other films. And I know that's maybe not like a strong focus point with a lot of his films, but I don't think it certainly is here. I think there certainly are elements where there is an attempt there with a lot of the relationships that are going on here, certainly with the twins and Rebecca Hall, etc., and the daughter character, but it never particularly hits particularly hard for me. But what you come here for is the puzzle box aspect of this, which is certainly exceptional. It really, really is. Yeah. So I will go a 9.6 for me for screenplay.
Yeah, well, I am somebody who does not need to be moved by things necessarily. I just need to appreciate what's going on. And we're going to talk about Interstellar and the fact that might have gone a little too far for me. So I just think that this is a masterpiece of writing, how it is crafted. And I keep coming back to it. The actual genius of this is the fact that you can keep going back to it and it still feels fresh, or you still find something else, or you just admire how he puts that puzzle together. So even if you do have your little square puzzle all arranged in order, it doesn't matter. You can just take it all apart again and put it back in order again. And I just think that is fabulous. And then all the little tricks that it's that magic trick in itself in a way. I think we've said that, like how he does it. And I think it's one of his best scripts, quite frankly. I really do.
Written with his brother.
With Jonathan.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. Credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could say about the women, but quite frankly, this does annoy me a little bit, but the Chris Nolan thing. Like,
sure.
The women, it's not, there's a dead wife trope. There's they're never really that well written. Yeah, they're here to move the plot along. But the source material is about, like, it is about these men with their obsessions. Like, so that is the story. It's like, oh my God, what was it the other day when I was like, getting annoyed about people claiming that saying the Shawshank Redemption was terrible because there was no women. I'm like, it's in a men's prison in the 1940s. Give me a break. Like, what on earth? I mean, please. So, yes, okay, this is not quite as extreme, but the whole point is that society was very male driven back there. And I think Sarah has that. She has a bit more to her than the others. The others are plot devices ultimately. Yeah.
But I think, don't care so much. Scarlett Johansson has an interesting moment where obviously Angier sends her to work and spy for Christian Bale, and
what's her real motivation?
Turns things on its head, and like, no, I'm going to work for you now because I hate what he did to me because he treated me like a stagehand or whatever. So there is a little bit there for her character as well.
There is a bit. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm still saying 10. So
Okay. Excellent. Favorite performance, Heather?
Yeah, tough. I know we've been praising Jackman, but I think on rewatch and realizing the small subtleties of what Bale is doing with his 3-4 roles, or however many we're counting, I think I am going to go with Bale, just because I generally, will normally find him the best part of anything that he's in. So a little bit biased. But I think Jackman is his best performance that he's done in his career. But the one I think that really jumped out at me the last couple of rewatches is Bale, just because I was watching him more closely. So yeah, I think I will go with Bale, but as a double lead situation, they are really both great, and one doesn't work without the other. They both have to be working. And also shout out to Michael Caine. He's also very torn. You can tell as well in his performance. He's kind of like the audience as well. He's clearly siding more with Angier, as in is very loyal to Angier for a very long time, until he realizes, mate, you're going too far. But even then, there's still some kind of loyalty there until the sort of the very end, when he realizes what he's done. But it's come to the very, very end when he realizes that who Lord Caulfield is. And then that's the final part of it. But I think he's as close to audience surrogate, I guess, as we're going to get. But I mean, Michael Caine's always doing good work in Christopher Nolan films. So yeah, this is another interesting. It's always
a really sad moment, that scene in Tenet with Michael Caine. It's like, we're not going to see him again in a Chris Nolan film.
Oh, you never know. Yeah, maybe he's voicing Poseidon. Nobody knows who's doing Poseidon.
Yes,
Odyssey.
That's a good point. Good point.
Michael Caine, Kenneth Branagh. We don't know who's it going to be.
Yeah,
bring back Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, I think that one's a long shot, just with the interviews I've heard from Cillian Murphy.
Yes.
He changed around the FOMO thing
to Romo. Yeah.
The fear of not missing out or whatever.
Yes, no, the relief of missing out. He changed it to. Yeah, I don't know.
Because of how hard these films are, I guess, to film.
Well, originally the rumor was it was going to be Downey, and then he signed up for Doomsday. But if they're making Poseidon, which I think is the rumor that a lot of these gods are actually going to be voice only, if in fact actually they're portrayed at all, because a lot of them are just going to be shown by the elements. Yeah. Which could certainly be the case with Poseidon, but that would be interesting, because he was originally the choice of Downey for Poseidon. So I don't know. We shall see. There's so many rumors. I'm trying not to read anything else. Anyway,
my favorite performance is Hugh Jackman. I guess, as you say, he doesn't have the subtle performance like Christian Bale. I love Christian Bale, but I think here I just really love what Hugh Jackman is doing. The fact that he doesn't go down sort of your typical route of what you normally see with a character that becomes completely obsessed. He doesn't go down kind of the ridiculous, crazy angle, which so many other films tend to do. So I really respect that from him. Acting score for me for The Prestige, it certainly will be my lowest score out of the three elements that we look at on this podcast. I think mainly because of Scarlett Johansson, because of the accent. So, I mean, it's not great, is it, at all?
It's really bad.
So it does bring it down a little bit. So I'll go to like an 8.3 for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel terrible because, she's not, like we said, she's not, the performance isn't necessarily that bad, but I am just so distracted by this freaking accent. Oh, Freddie. Oh my God. Oh, what are we doing? I don't know what kind of accent this is. Maybe it's going Australian. Who knows?
Yeah.
Good God, woman. Just be an American in London. Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's what Hugh Jackman's character is. Good God. Anyway.
Your score for acting.
Yeah, I don't know, because the rest is so good. That's the problem. And just to be brought down by one person. I've written down 9.3, but that really bothers me that it's so high and so close to direction. So I think I'm going to have to move it down to I'm going to go to 9.1. Yeah, okay. I know. Because I still have to keep it above 9 because, it doesn't really bother me. It's just, I have to say, it was this last rewatch where I don't know whether it's just what mood I was in. It was just really bothering me, this last rewatch.
It is quite a distraction. But I think because of the rest of the film is so good.
Yeah, the rest are so good. That's the thing. It's it's really strong ensemble, and then she sticks out like a freaking sore thumb.
Right, let's add up the scores then for The Prestige. The Prestige gets a very impressive 55.4.
Yay!
This is going to be a tight one, people. Heather is difficult to read, people, with her scores for Interstellar, so come back for part 2 to find out who wins. That's it for part 1. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out part 2 to see who wins. But don't stop there. Get involved and tell me what your favourite films are relating to the episode. Send us a DM or comment on Instagram and TikTok at Film vs. Film Podcast, for X at FVF_podcast. Plus, we are now on YouTube, so hit that like button and comment there. If you do, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Remember, please leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. Pod signing off.